Are we on? Did you already turn
Yeah,
it on?
it's been on.
Okay.
I like this view too, the way it's.
When I saw it the other day, I was like, it's your mat. Yeah.
No, it ends at your shoulder.
Okay. What episode are we on?
21, I think.
21?
21. 21. What?
Wake up.
Oh no.
So I got my espresso.
I got up so early.
Got my espresso.
I got one. I'm gonna slowly work on it. It's so delicious. I'm trying to savor. But yes, 21. The benefits of a private lesson, whatever, private class. Honestly, whether it is just one person or a couple or, maybe 5 people. I would say 5 is the max.
Yeah.
I would want to do
private. No,
especially for an hour.
It's different. So I've done like parties and events for people, and those are always just a good time. Yeah. But like one of the favorite benefits to me when I think about privates is it's literally designed for you.
Right.
So when you're teaching a class of 15 people in this room, you can only do so much for one person in particular. You can give some tips, you can say a couple of things, but you don't have time to like sit there and walk through certain things with them. And so when you have someone one-on-one, you can really break things down until they get it.
Right.
And I love privates for that reason. So I think some people look at, like the price tag of a private and they're like, well, I could just go to a class for free because I already paid for a membership. And you can't. That's totally fine. But like if you're noticing some injuries in your body, if you are noticing certain poses continue to hurt your body, then that's a sign like something needs to be rearranged. Something needs to be changed with that pose. Or if you are working on certain things, that's another way that privates are really great. If you're working on getting upside down and things like that, you can continue to try to throw yourself into it but you may not get very far.
Right.
Whereas in a private, you can really walk through the steps and what we're activating, what we're doing every step of the way to get you there a little bit faster.
Where you should be feeling these sensations. And we do that on Fridays. However,
you're still
on Fridays.
And you're still teaching to a big class, and it's an individual.
We even had 8 today, and that was still kind of complicated to go around to everyone because we were doing arm balances. It's not getting upside down, but arm balancing, still there is a lot of alignment cues. There is a lot of engagements in places you wouldn't even think.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I'm doing what? Where?
Well, it's hard to look at 8 bodies separately to pinpoint for each person what step you're missing.
Right.
Like where you're not engaging. Whereas like if I have one person in front of me, I'm watching them.
That body.
And so I can talk to the body that's right in front of me. But when I have 10 people in the room, you can only see so much, without just zoning in on one person. I don't want to do that's not fair either.
Exactly.
So you're just trying to look in general and give tips like as you go. So I'm literally just saying like a sentence or two to a person before moving on to the next person.
Exactly.
And so a private, it is just you. It is literally you, your body, and what you're needing to be doing. And like I said, whether that's you're trying to advance your practice by doing new things, that's awesome. Or you're trying to perfect your warrior 2 or your warrior 1, or hey, my chaturangas, they hurt my body. Like what's happening? And you can give a couple of sentences and a couple of tips to someone, but without being able to take the time to walk through it with someone, that's pretty hard to do in a class with other people.
And that's it ties privates, the purpose of a private, why a private really goes in hand with our hands-on assists from last episode. Because we can only go around and touch so many people or assist so many people in a pose to help ease the body into whichever, asana we're getting into. However, sometimes we need to pause and tick through, okay, we'll do this or do, and you can't do that to every single person.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do crazy amount of warrior in
Well,
one class.
nobody wants to hold a warrior one for 50 breaths while you walk around to
Go
5 different people. I mean, that's 5 people
Right.
right there.
Yes.
It would take about 50 breaths to walk through with 5 people. So nobody wants to do that. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Please don't have me there for 50 breaths. I will give up. I will give up. I will be in charge.
Because if you are engaging in your warrior 1, 2, whichever, it should eventually tire out your body where you're just like, if you're just standing there, something is, let's talk about it. Yeah. And that's what I was telling someone the other day about how I think my practice progressed so quickly, especially in the beginning, because when I started coming here, classes were very small. So we had a lot more one-on-one or one-on-3, and I was like, I was really able to absorb a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is why I know what I know. That's why I've been able to progress the way that I've been able to progress so quickly in the beginning. Now I'm learning, however, there are some things that I missed along the way. And it's still important to come back to what we call the basics. They're not basic. It's just we think they are. However, Warrior 1, there is a way to deepen it.
Oh, yeah. And engage it. When you started here, it reminds me a lot of me when I started yoga. I mean, I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I loved how it felt when I left. But I do remember, it was very, very new. I'd been to maybe 4 or 5 classes, and I remember like in a warrior 1 or even a crescent lunge, I remember looking around and like, it seemed like it was very hard for some people, and I didn't understand it wasn't very hard for me.
Right.
And I say I made the mistake. I'm glad that I did because I got the information that I needed. But I told the instructor, like, I feel like this isn't that hard for me. And I think I'm doing something wrong because I'm looking around and people are breathing very heavy.
Yeah.
And they're really ready to get out of it. And I can tell. And I'm here. I could just hang out, and I saw the evil in her eyes, those little horns, kind of like I do. And it's like, and
let me show you.
So what I figured out was I was just standing in postures.
Yes.
I was not actually doing or engaging any of the postures.
You were
mimicking what I was seeing, but like I was not igniting anything in my body.
Right.
At most my arms would get tired from holding them above my head. But so that's when I say, like, I could hold a warrior 2 for quite some time if I'm just there. But that's a whole different ball game than engaging and actually doing a warrior 2.
Right.
And I can give all the verbal cues throughout a class 1,000,000 times. I can say all of the things. And as a student, one might land with you in a class. Mm-hmm. Even though I gave 10, one of them might land. And some of them may never land with you. And so that's kind of when you go to work one-on-one with someone, you can actually tick through every little thing. And there's nobody else in the room for it to not land with.
Right.
It's
like I'm saying
talking
to your you.
And I'm moving your body as I do it. And so, even just class yesterday. That was yesterday, right?
Thursday.
You came to class yesterday, and 2 different times. I didn't even move your body. I gave the cue, and I touched that part of your body. I just tapped, and you did it yourself. There's so much going on, right? So sometimes we forget. We teach yoga,
right?
I know what the pose is supposed to look like and feel like, and I know all the cues. I give them, but sometimes while I'm in it, there's a lot going on.
And I'm getting tired,
all of the things I'm supposed to be doing. And so I think it was in a twist.
And a warrior.
Yep. And I didn't actually move your body at all. I just touched the part that needed to be changed in Warrior 2. And I gave the verbal cue and you corrected yourself. And same thing in that twist. I came and I tapped your rib cage as I talked about, and you did it yourself. I didn't even need to manipulate your body. But had I not come around and actually touched you, not sure you would have done it.
Right.
That is kind of what you get out of a private is you get a whole new set of poses, in my opinion, that you then can take back into your class.
Right.
With the class experience and learn how to do some of those on your own to make it harder, to get more benefit out of it.
And I think those verbal cues, whenever you are one-on-one, because I've seen it in people, whenever you are just one-on-one and you tell them this verbal cue, they're like, oh, you are literally talking to me.
Yeah, there's no one else.
Yeah, I'm literally saying this to you. And then
even though I've done that the last 10 classes you were in, I was talking to you.
I was still talking to you.
I was still talking to you. But I've been that student that I could have heard that cue 10 times. And until you actually walked over and put my body what you were talking about.
You were actually saying.
It was like, well, I really wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
I thought it was, but it wasn't.
Right.
And, warriors are like a great example of that because you can look like you're in perfect alignment and you are in perfect alignment, but I could just hang out there.
You get
in perfect alignment, but I'm not actually activating anything in my body.
In the body, the muscles.
I mean, yes, my legs will eventually tire. My arms will eventually tire from holding them out. But I'm not actually engaging really anything in my body. I'm just standing in alignment. And so I have a student that I, was given feedback and I was like, you are in perfect alignment. But also you could be doing more.
You could be, you're cheating yourself.
Because my guess is you could hang out in that warrior too for 20, 30 breaths.
Right.
Before anything starts getting tired. And
that's the purpose.
Active warrior too is you're gonna get tired a lot faster than that.
And that's the whole purpose, is to tire the body out through the asanas for your shavasana at the very end. So if you're just hanging out, what are you really doing in your practice?
You get some great physical benefits too. You just do from activating all of those muscles. But it is generally, yoga, it is all for
the preparation
it's all preparation for your shavasana, for that seat in meditation. But
that's a whole other
you get some benefits to doing the poses at your fullest potential. And how do you know what your edge is if you've never been pushed to take it further? How do you know you could even take it further? Because like I said, when I started, I probably looked like I was in alignment. I would guess. I don't know. There's no mirrors, so I can't see. But I would assume I was in alignment. That's not even what she went over with me when I told her, like, something isn't adding up for me here. She didn't go over my alignment. She went over my engagement.
The muscles.
What are you? And I wasn't.
Where are you grounding? Where are you? Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't really engaging anything in my body at all. So, but if you looked at me, I'm sure it's fine. It's a fine warrior one.
It's a warrior.
It's a warrior too. But what benefit am I actually getting from this?
Is it your warrior? And that's what has been so cool to watch. I've not done many, but the few that I have, the privates that I've done, whenever we do get into like a warrior 1, warrior 2, a chair, whenever we get there, and it's the first one of the class, I personally always pause in those in the beginning of class. Because I want you to find your foundation. And it has been so cool to watch those particular people that I've had in privates, because that's one of the first things that I say, I feel like, is start from the ground up. Find your alignment, and then we tick through them. And before I even get to certain things, they're already, because we've worked on it together, they're like, okay, I'm finding my warrior, the pose that is for my body. And that's so neat to watch, because they're like, oh, they're talking to me, because I feel like whenever we're in a big class, I feel like sometimes in a class as students, we might be like, oh, they're just talking. They're just saying this to whoever's listening, instead of being like, maybe I should listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just calling me pose to pose, but these are all, which they are invitations.
Yeah.
Everything in between the pose are invitations to make these alignment adjustments, whichever. However, there's a benefit of them. There's a purpose behind what we're saying as the teacher. And I feel like that's something that you get a little bit more of an understanding in a private with a one-on-one, because you can literally sit down and be like, this is why we're doing this. This is why we're engaging in these parts of the body. This is the purpose of this pose. You can't really walk through that unless the whole sequence is over a warrior one and you just constantly get back into your warrior one with, I don't know, you do you, boo. But it's much harder to do that on a larger scale.
Yeah.
But and then it goes into being also able to explain in a private one-on-one the purpose of why we are tiring out the body, why we are breathing the way we are breathing. We can say that in a class and it's going to land with whomever it's going to land with. But whenever I first started, getting with people, trying to figure out what do you want? What's bringing you here to this space, and being able to kind of curate
An experience for them.
yeah. Instead of trying to curate for everyone, you're being able to do it for just this one person.
Yeah.
And making this special for them so they can find their practice.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's overlooked in this area. I could totally be wrong. I know people who do offer privates and who take privates. I just feel like maybe it's overlooked, or they're like, oh, well, I can just go to a free class. I don't know.
Well, we talk a lot on here about how yoga is for every body and every body is different. And this really comes into play here, because an alignment cue that I could give to a room for 10 people, it might work for 8 people, it might work for 9 people, but it may not work for everyone. And so, like, even our practices, I think we have very similar practices, and we can do a lot of the same things. There's some things you can do, I can't do, and vice versa. But they're very similar. And as far as flexibility and things like that, but there are still, like in my words, out of 10 people in a room, that alignment cue, it will land with most, but it may not work for everybody.
Right.
Because everyone's different, and you have different makeups of bodies and different injuries they've had throughout their life and different flexibilities and all of these things. And so, like, Warrior One has been like a hot topic that I've discussed with different teachers about the back foot. It's I don't understand why it's such a hot topic, but it is. And people get really defensive about that back foot in a Warrior One. And I'm like, but what's the purpose of the pose? That's always what I come back to. If you want to talk alignment, if you want to talk anything about a pose, if you just go back to what is the purpose of the pose, then I can take you through what alignment to get you to that purpose.
Right.
So awesome. If you could have your foot rotated all the way parallel with the back of your mat and still get your hips forward, awesome. I don't think I'll ever be there.
I don't know.
I don't know that I'll ever get there. And I'm okay with that. But there are teachers that get very defensive about that's where the foot needs to be. Who cares where your hips are? But the whole purpose of the pose is the hips. It's the legs and the hips. So like, I don't really understand, but that is how I teach.
Right.
It's why it was such a big part of teacher training. We did literally an entire weekend on what is the purpose of the pose, because no matter what body comes in front of you and when they can and cannot do, none of that matters. If you just come back to what is the purpose of the pose, then I can work with whatever body is in front of me to get the benefit purpose of that pose.
Right.
It just may look different than somebody else's,
and that's okay.
Your foot could be more cocked out than mine.
Right.
Mine's pretty far forward, but that's how my hips work. And
the outside of my leg it has not lengthened like that. Once again, we did not start at 5 years old.
No.
I started late 20s.
Because in my 30s.
Yeah, like some of it, right or wrong. But what about the body, meaning your body where you are like today, not yesterday? And I think it's really neat too. Just working recently with someone one-on-one, it never ceases to amaze me how different bodies really are.
Which I think is miraculous. I love it.
It's so cool because it helps me as a teacher learn how to help someone else who may have something similar that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
A really great example is your elbows, how you have to tilt it. Mine don't do that.
Yeah.
But I remember I think I was even teaching one day and you were like, well, look at your elbows, they're splaying out or something like that. And you were telling someone, I was like, oh, I never thought about that. And since then, I've come across people where I see their elbows buckling out. I'm like, just make this, try this.
Yeah.
Try this and see. And it, boom, and now it's fine.
Well, mine's hyperextend, and I have to be very careful of that. And so sometimes, like, the way that we learn, it's not even how our own bodies do something, but it really goes both ways. So I have taught people, privates to people who are in the very beginning journey of yoga and can do very little. And I love those classes. I've also taught people that are well advanced beyond what I can do. And I've taught privates to them as well. And it's a neat experience because you have to really learn and really accept that all bodies are different and learn how to teach to whatever body is in front of you. And so, like, do you have to take privates? No, you don't have to take privates. I love raising the question of why take them at all?
What is the purpose of taking your private?
I have gotten asked that several times. I don't teach very many of them anymore. I did for a long time. And people would ask me, like, what is the point of, like, what am I going to get out of a private?
Right.
Well, really, that's up to you. It's up to you what you want to get out of it. Are you wanting to work on something new or hard or whatever? Or if that's not for you, what if we work through the foundation of your poses and get you stronger in just your foundational poses?
Right.
So it's really what you want to get out of the time. But I've been asked that question numerous times. Like, what's the point of a private? Why would I pay money for something like that when I can come and take a class for my membership? It's basically free. I pay one price per month and I get as many unlimited classes as I want to come to.
Right.
That's the difference. I have 15 people in this room to teach to, and you're just one of them. And so I'm going to do the best I can. And especially things like if I notice something happening, I'm going to try to say something like before or after a class. But you just don't always have that opportunity. Some people roll in 1 minute to spare and leave right after class. I don't have time to, like, one-on-one, because I'm not going to call you out in class either. I'm not going to do that. So, like, you don't always have the opportunity to work with someone on something.
No, exactly.
Even though you see that they're struggling with it, I can come and give you like a couple of sentences, but that's really all I can do because all these
everybody
people
else
are also here.
Right.
So those are just, to me, some of the benefits of a private.
Yeah. I think those are definitely the most important because I'm telling you, I really believe that's why I progressed so much in the beginning, is because we had
some privates.
I was the only one here, or me and one other person, or me or two other people, and we were really able to crack down. And people are like, how are you there? Well, I had a lot of one-on-one, times with someone who is watching my body. And that's it.
Give me the feedback in real time.
Yes. In real time, right there immediately. And I try to do that on Fridays, and I know you do too, trying to give the feedback right there. And sometimes we're not even doing crazy poses on Fridays, but we're going through new flows and trying to cue through it, and safely do it. It's not always that simple when you have 8, 15, however many people are in that class. And I think it just helps propel your practice forwards. I mean, you can sit here and do, in personal opinion, you can sit here and do online classes and all these online, things, but which I think they're wonderful and I think they're amazing to be able to have a practice, but to be able to get the feedback.
Yeah.
The feedback to really, I think it's important to have also some sort of one-on-one. And you can have one-on-ones online. I mean, you can have someone video chatting with you and then see your body, but they're still paying attention to your body. They're not practicing on their mat.
Yeah.
You're not going to a room with a teacher in the front also practicing with you.
Yeah.
And I just had that conversation with someone who that makes a difference. Because when you're able to walk around as an instructor, you can teach to the bodies in front of you if you're practicing on your mat, which I know some people do. Personal opinion. How are you teaching to anyone but yourself?
Yeah.
In that moment, you don't see anything that's going on. But
another way,
my 2 cents.
Another way that I learn about my own practice, like how I give myself private, so we'll say that
Yeah.
way. I think that's the best way I can put it. Is like filming myself.
Or, yeah.
If I record myself, because again, when you're here, you can't see your body, which is what you're getting like from an instructor that's watching just you. They see your body and they can address your body. I don't see my body. And especially halfway through class when I'm getting tired, my alignment gets real wonky because I'm getting tired. I'm getting wore out and I'm not doing all the things.
Not going as deep, as open.
And so I've learned so much just by like filming myself, taking a class, and then watching it later and able to give feedback for myself.
Yes.
Like I'm watching a body and I can address that body, but it's mine.
Right.
It's my body and learn what I need to be doing different or how I need to be adjusting, or like I think that my hips are level in Warrior 2, but actually they're like, you
Right.
know, so you can learn a lot by that. And that's essentially what you're getting, out of a private is a teacher watching just your body and not out of judgment or, criticism, just that, I mean, you can keep doing it that way. But if you want more, let's get you more.
Right.
Here's what needs to be happening. Let's adjust a couple of things. And then you've got a whole new Warrior 2.
Right.
That if you don't have somebody that can look at it and make those adjustments for you, I don't know how else that happens.
Exactly. And it doesn't. I mean, or you just stay right where you are. And that's okay with you. You do you kind of thing, But that's it. That's all we want to do. And it's in any class is help you be your best self or be the person that you want to be. And if that is something that you want to do is move forwards, that's what we're here. That's what we're about too, supporting and making sure that you're getting the best quality that I can teach, and the best quality that you're wanting to get out of your practice. And that's what I want to offer.
All right. So episode 21?
21. Yes.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.
We're both tired today.
Bye. I don't know. I feel like that was like 25, 30 minutes. Maybe.
Whoa.